All right, guys, today is gonna be the review of the 2013 Audi S4 dual pulley ratio. I'm running a single pulley 207mm, but it's a dual pulley ratio, stage 2 plus, tuned by 034. It's got 2-step launch control, and it's absolutely one of my favorite cars I've ever owned, and I've owned a few. Here I'm actually pulling up to my house right now, and you can see I got a turbocharged Integra there. Nothing too quick. It's not as quick as this car. That's my turbocharged Teggy. Maybe I'll make a video on that later. I have a few videos of me redoing all the front and rear suspension on the car, and it's on a rough street tune right now, but it's still pulling. It pulls on like a 350Z, and that's about it. But yeah, and then this is the Audi. She's stock. She looks stock wheels. The only thing I did was upgrade a grill for cosmetics, but it's a family car. I drive my kid in this. You know, I don't go out racing. I don't take it to the track. It's just a fun little car that I have on the weekends when I'm not driving around my family. So a few of the negatives having this car and being tuned on a stage 2 plus tune. The first major negative is gas. Now, the meter on the actual dash will read that I'm getting, let's see what it says right now. It says that my average is 19.4 miles per gallon. Let me tell you, that is not the case whatsoever. I probably get closer to like 10 miles per gallon city. Now, if I'm on the highway, it's still decent on gas. I probably get, you know, as long as I'm cruising under like 2,000 RPMs, 2,500 RPMs, I am probably getting about, 20 miles to a gallon, if that. But it'll say 400, but no. I get no gas in the city. I'm filling up once a week, and I drive 10 minutes down to work and back. And that's about it. Almost a whole quarter tank a day. And if I gotta go anywhere else, get groceries and stuff, I'm spending more than, 50, 60 bucks a week on gas. Maintenance on this car, these cars, for what I have seen, are pretty reliable if you take care of them. If you keep up with your oil changes, you flush out your coolant, and you do the proper maintenance, these cars are going to take you forever. I've had this car since 89,000 miles. I'm at 115K, and almost all of that 25,000 miles, almost, yeah, a little bit over 25,000 miles was stage 2 plus. Because one, I did my oil changes every 3,000 miles. It says 10,000 miles, but I'm tuned, and the car runs a little bit hotter, and it runs a little bit more rich. So I'm gonna do it every 4,000 miles. I'm doing an oil change. I have probably flushed the coolant 100 times from all the jobs I've done, but I've done the intercooler cores, I've done the carbon cleaning on the car. The only problem I've ever had with this car to this day, and of course, you got to keep up with maintenance on the car, so knock on wood, but so far, like, the main issues I've had was one spark plug fouled, and it went to shit. I replaced it. I haven't had an issue with it since. And that was 3,000 miles after I did all the spark plugs. And the water pump or thermostat went. I don't know which one. I replaced both of them. And I haven't had an issue with the car since. It's been running great. So personally, if you take care of these cars and you treat it right, these cars they're very reliable. And that's one of the biggest things I love about it. Super easy to work on. Yeah, it's kind of a pain to put it in service mode, and having to pull that front bumper off to really do anything, and to upgrade the pulley and to do this and that. But compared to some of these other cars, even if you have a cheap little Honda, if they've been worked on by the wrong person, or they're just rusted out to crap, they're a pain to work on. It might be cheap and easy labor, but it's a pain to work on something like that. This car, I haven't really had issues working on it. It's just a very simple car. So I've done the transmission. I didn't personally do the transmission flush, but I've had that done as well to preserve the transmission, because these transmissions, I know the older generation have problems with the DSG. Now, if you want to get up to a 2012 S4 with the supercharger, you're going to want to make sure you either get a manual or the DSG service has been done. If you have a 2013 plus to, I think, is the 2016 model, the automatic transmissions are good. They don't have the same DSG problems that the other ones had. Other thing so that's the difference between the B8, it's I think 2009 to 2012, and the B8.5 2013 and 2016. It's the facelift. I personally like the facelift better. And I I know that the B8s had problems with the aluminum water pump, or they had a plastic water pump that would break on time, so the common upgrade was to change it to, I believe, was an aluminum one. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I know that was one of the common failures for the B8, even if you had the manual. Second negative is only racer boys want to race you, and built cars either don't think you're worthy enough to race, or they're afraid of the Audi symbol, and they're like, I ain't messing with no Audi, because Audi builds some really great cars. A third negative is sometimes these heater cores get saturated with water, and then the mold and mildew start to grow on it. And in the winter time especially, you will turn on your heater, or immediately after you turn on the car, and you will get this foul smell and stench. And I've done extensive research on this, and I've changed out my filter. I've sprayed Lysol into the, you know, I've done what everybody else has said. Sometimes it comes down to cleaning out your air ducts and having to replace that. I think it's the heater core section, right? So when you turn on your heat, the air is going to go through it, and that's what heats up the air. That place with that component will have to get replaced because it's all moldy and mildew. And I think you got to take the dash apart. I haven't looked into it. I personally don't want to do it. Mine isn't that bad, and mine is bearable for now. But it only has that stench at startup, and that's it. Once the air starts flowing, it's good. So that's the third negative. The fourth is a half negative, right? If you work on cars, positive, FCP Euro, great parts, lifetime warranty, do the work yourself. You got to buy the German tools, you'll be fine. But then the half negative would be if you don't work on these cars yourself, if you can afford it, get all your mods and stuff and maintenance done at the dealership. But say your carbon cleaning will cost you $1,200, depending on who you go through. I bought the walnut blaster for $500 and did everything myself. You know? So that's a half negative. If you do work yourself, this is definitely a car for you. If you don't do maintenance and work yourself, it can still be the car for you, but just understand you're going to have to be paying a little bit more because it's a German car, it's a luxury car, and you know, they're going to up price things, and they're going to say, oh, you know, these parts probably do cost more. You know, a water pump, $300 water pump probably costs more than a Honda Civic, which might be a $75 water pump, you know? So yeah, that's the fourth negative. The last and final, I'm going to say again, a half negative. You can only make so much horsepower on this car. Right now at a full stage 2 plus, I think I'm pushing like 410 maybe to the wheels. And if I were to go on I think it's E90 or E30. It's not E85. It's an ethanol blend. I don't know what it is because I'm not tuned for it. You got to upgrade the fuel pump piston for it. Then you might be pushing 425, 430 to the wheels. So you're kind of capped out on power unless you add meth or nitrous or you port your blower. I think Joker's has blowers that are ported and polished, and I think you can make almost 500 wheel horsepower. You know, you throw some meth in there and you could be breaking into fives. But that's another negative. You're kind of capped out on power unless you do a full rebuild and I think there's someone out there right now doing a turbo build, and there's another person doing a fully built build with a supercharger and NOS, and I think he's also running meth with a fully built motor. So, you know, that's a negative-ish. You know, if 400 is fine, this is perfect for me for my family car. I don't need a 900 horsepower Audi daily driver. But some people, you know, if you really want to go on the build, that'd be a negative, something to look into. You know, I think the C7, S8 or S7 in this year comes with a V8 twin turbo. Those might be better to build, upgrade the turbos, and you're pushing 600-700 horsepower. I heard you could beat Hellcats with it. I don't know, I don't have one. But yeah, positives is going to be the car looks great, sounds great, the supercharger whines great, 7-speed automatic DSG dual clutch transmission. And the automatic on the manual ones are a little bit lighter because they don't have the massive transmission. So you're kind of same on power there, but I think the dual clutch sounds great. You can fit a car seat in the back and have a 450 horsepower car. You get the leather seats, the super nice, like sporty looking seats. You get to look at this every time you walk into your car, and I absolutely love it. This is my favorite. I love looking at this. It's my absolute favorite car. And I've owned, I think, 17 cars, and this is definitely my favorite. How many more positives? These cars are cheap. And when I say cheap, I mean cheap. You can get an Audi S4 right now. I seen one on Facebook Marketplace, fully modified, same as mine, dual stage 2 plus. I'm tuned by 034, but you also have a big tuning platform, APR, Jackal. I think Jackal is a tuning for this car as well. 034 APR, Jackal, IE or EI, engineering, integrated engineering, IE I think it is. I'm not tuned by them, but they also do these tunes. So you got a big tuning platform, very fun to tune, very fun to drive, but definitely affordable. This guy was fully tuned, stage 2 plus, and he had wheels on the car. Mine is a stock looking car, but he had like, you know, I think he had coils, wheels, and he had like 108,000 miles. So that's decently low for a 2013 year car, or even a 2015. I think that's a decent low amount of miles. And he was selling it for 16.5 or 16.8. That's negotiable. You can go and get that car for $14,000. If I didn't have this car right now, or if I had the money to get a second one, I would have bought his. Because these cars are reliable. I know how to do the maintenance. The maintenance is not super cheap, but it's inexpensive. I can afford it. And the cars run great. They sound great, and they're quick. I've, you know, fully tuned SS Camaros, I think, what, 2016, 2017. A fully tuned 5.0. I've done a fully tuned and supercharged, I would say fully tuned, I think it was fully built motor, supercharged, centrifugal supercharger 5.0. I beat him, he beat me, I beat him. It was back and forth, but I mean, I'm keeping up with a supercharged V8. You know, I think that one was like a 2012 or 2013. These are great cars. They're reliable. And I know some people have had issues running hot. You know, you got to upgrade your heat exchangers. If you're going to upgrade the car, do the proper upgrades, right? You don't go dual pulley and, you know, and then now you have, you know, your cat's blowing out and you're overheating because you didn't upgrade your heat exchanger, and you didn't do the proper maintenance. Do the supporting modifications for the modifications and tuning that you want to do to reach the power that you want to reach. That's the advice I would give, you know. And then whoever you go through, make sure you go through a good tuner and you have good information about everything before you just start throwing money at something and you don't know exactly what you're throwing your money at. So do your research. Not even for this car, for any car, do your research. I mean, I love it. It's cheap, reliable, they're quick. I mean, I don't know how much more you could ask for. If you want a faster car, or if you have the money to build a Honda, you know, the Honda boys could be like, I could build, you know, a Honda for $14,000. That's fine. And I'm all about building. You know, I got my boosted Integra, right? But for 16K, I'm pushing 420, beating a tuned 5.0, tuned 2018 5.0 with the 7-speed or 10-speed or whatever. And they're getting walked by this, you know, and I got AC, because that Honda boy ain't gonna have no AC. You know, I got comfortability in the car, the leather seats, the heated seats, you know what I'm saying? Some of them I think have heated steering wheels, I think. You know, you ain't gonna have that in the Honda. You're gonna have a little bucket seat that rattles around and isn't comfy. Like my Integra isn't that comfortable. I love driving this. This is comfortable. You know, I got what I need. You know, all the windows work, all the AC works. So I think the positives, especially with the price point of these cars right now, outweigh the negatives. All right, it's gonna be enough of my talking. Let's get down to a little pool.